I'm going to take you through my 5 different drawing and painting setups. The gear, the kit, the equipment. Now, we all know that having good gear and stuff, it doesn't make you a better artist, right? And you can learn all the fundamentals of drawing really with some printer paper and a pencil. But on the other hand, the gear and the setup is quite fun if you get into it. And there is an indirect benefit for me, which is I really like this kit. I really like these different things that I have, and it makes me want to draw more, and then that does make me better at drawing and painting. So maybe there's an excuse for this, but I also just find this to be a hobby in and of itself. Like, I watch people's DIY plein air painting kits. The more DIY, the more cobbled together, the more fun it is. Some people are into cars, some people are into fancy houses or whatever. I really like watching people with their plein air painting kits, their sketching kits, and their desk setups and stuff like that. So anyway, this is my plein air painting kit. And I think it's really useful to have a sketching kit for drawing outside, so you can go and draw stuff from life outside. And if you're into painting, a plein air kit as well. So going outside and drawing and painting from life, it really brings you into the present moment, into the real world. So this gear and kit is good for your painting, drawing, and your mental health, right? It's not just a big excuse to buy fun stuff and make fun little things, right? So anyway, this one I'm very proud of, okay? So this is a sketch easel. So James Gurney invented, I believe, the sketch easel, and crucial to it is the friction hinges. All right, so the friction hinges mean, and by the way, it's basically invisible. That's how cool it is, right? So you might not even be able to see it on the screen because I made it from acrylic. But anyway, it's got these friction hinges so that you can open it to any angle. This is really useful. Sometimes I need it like this, sometimes I need it like this. Now, my friend Jared Cullum, he had some modifications. So one is this hole, and he puts a silicone cup into it so that now the water can be held in there, and then embed some magnets. This is an art toolkit palette that I bought. None of this is sponsored, by the way. It's just stuff that I got. You can get any metal palette, really. I think the metal ones are really good, and they can magnet onto stuff, right? So this magnet's on, and very nice. The reason that I like the art toolkit palette is because the pans are shallow, and really you only get at the paint on the surface. So the deeper pans, the standard pans, they're very deep. I don't see the point of that. A lot of the paint is just deep in the pan. Here it's all on the surface and you can access it, and there isn't any wasted space, I think. Now, I made this my own. I innovated as well, which by stealing my daughter's belt. All right, now her trousers are falling down. That's not my problem, okay? What I do is I take this belt and I strap this palette around my leg, and then I sit in a portable camping chair. I know myself. I hate standing, all right? My wife, she wants me to go to live music and stuff. I'm like, I like live music, but I'm not going because it's standing up for a long time. So I got the camping chair, and I don't want this to just be balanced in my lap, so I strap it to my leg, super stable, and I can recline in my chair and paint. Very smug. Maybe looking silly, I don't know, but I feel very smug and very lazy. Because this, if I have to stand for a long time, I know that mentally I'm going to make excuses for why I shouldn't go out painting that day. You know, I won't admit it, but it's because of the standing. The truth would be, I don't want to stand for a long time. But if I get to recline in my nice camping chair, I want to paint all day. You got to know, now everyone's going to be different. You might not be like that. A lot of people like to stand with a proper easel, proper people. I'm not a proper person, so I want to chill out, and I know myself. It's very similar in all of these setups. I know myself, I know what is going to get me to want to draw and paint more. This is the game. So your drawing and painting practice habit is like a little puppy that you're looking after. And you have to understand that puppy and gently encourage it all the time to do the right things and feed it and whatever else it needs to thrive. And if it's not thriving, if you're not practicing, in other words, then you need to modify what you're doing so that your practice habit puppy does thrive. So the approach that often people take is like, I'm going to practice more, and then I'm going to yell at myself if I don't practice enough. Now, this doesn't work when you think about your practice habit like a puppy. But if you think about, I'm going to give this puppy everything it needs to thrive, and if it's not thriving, I'm going to change it until it does thrive, this was a game changer for me. So having stuff like you're allowed to sit down and relax while you're doing your painting, for me, was really, really beneficial. All right, how did I make this bad boy? Did I spend £1 million on it because that's clearly how much it's worth because it's so cool? No. First, I made a really janky prototype with wood. Now listen, I only had an old blunt coping saw, that's why it looks so bad. And then my friend Sam said he has access to a laser cutter, and so made a little file in Inkscape and laser cut this bad boy with his help. Thank you, Sam. And I'm super duper happy with it. But that is not my only plein air painting kit. I also know that I'm not always going to want to get out a whole camping chair and strap that thing to my leg and do the whole thing. Sometimes I'm just going to want a very, very quick sketch. Enter the bum bag, or in America, the fanny pack, which is an outrageous thing to say in the UK, just so you know, Americans, okay? So, the fanny pack kit, I love this thing, okay? So, I got this one, for, again, no sponsorship here, from this Waterfly thing. Now, it has this bottle holder here, which is great, because obviously when you're doing watercolors, you need some water. It can also hold a pot of water, and I can, you know, when I've got it around my waist, I can be dipping my brush straight into the pot. Athletic sweatband. So I saw this, I'll put the channel that I saw this on the screen. So as I'm painting, instead of having like a paper towel or something to dab off my watercolors, I can dab it on here, which is really convenient. So this is how it works, okay? So I've got my bum bag and I get my little A6 Moleskine watercolor sketchbook. And the first thing that I'll do is I'll get my palette and I'll clip it on. And I do have a smaller version of this palette as well if I want. So I can clip that on. Isn't that nice? I think it's pretty nice. So then I've got this, this, and this. Then I put on this little clip-on water pot up here, like that, okay? So now I've got the water, I've got the paint, I've got this, and I've got this. Now I just need the brush, and then, and this is all in the bum bag, all right? Then I have my Rosemary & Co. travel brush. So I really like these because there's no, you know, the brush is completely protected inside the metal case, and that's very satisfying. All right, so that's a nice kit, and it all fits inside the bum bag, so I don't need, and I can just, I've done more painting with this than with the other one. The other one I need for bigger, longer paintings, but for these little sketches, this is such a nice kit to have, and I can sit in a cafe and do it, or I can be at the park and just sketch. Sometimes I'm with my kids and they're messing around, I can just do a quick little painting. So I have that bum bag kit, and then I have this little case where I can put the extra palette and some bigger brushes and stuff that I might need, some tape and all that kind of stuff. And that's really cool. And I found this on another YouTube video because I watch all the videos about people's plein air kits. Also crucial to the plein air kit is this hat, because you want to protect yourself from the sun. Kit number 3 is very important. It is my at-home sketching when I'm feeling really, really lazy kit. I have a really nice desk setup for drawing and painting, everything's super convenient, but sometimes I'm too lazy to actually sit at the desk. So I have my on the sofa or in bed sketching kit. All right, so this is really important because, again, I'm not trying to force myself through discipline to draw and paint more. I'm just understanding myself and working with what I have. So what I have is I'm often feeling very tired. I've got 2 small kids. At the end of the day, I am like lying down on the sofa. But with this kit, I can still be sketching stuff lying down, right? So I have a Moleskine sketchbook, doesn't have to be a Moleskine, and I've got this little pack. And in this little set, I've got brush pens and pencils and stuff like that. So what do I have in here? I've got this really pale marker. I'm just trying this out because Sorry Kim, who's really good at this kind of sketching all kinds of stuff habit, uses one of these instead of a graphite pencil. You know, often you'll do a graphite sketch, figure things out, do construction, and then you might add the ink over the top, but that makes a mess because the graphite's all smudgy. And sometimes you want to see your construction marks. So I'm trying what she does, which is having this like pale gray marker, and then can go in with a brush pen or an ink pen of some sort. Don't really need this much stuff. You could just have like a pen, you know. I also have this corrective fluid because I make so many mistakes. And the whole point of ink is that you don't correct it, but I need to correct it. I just make too many mistakes. So anyway, this is a really important kit for increasing the amount of sketching that I'm doing. Then there's my super convenient desk setup. I have my newsprint pad on a board which I've attached to a monitor arm. You know, a monitor arm where you can just pull the monitor around. I've got my newsprint pad on that, so I can just pull that in and start sketching. I've got a little drawer here with my pencils. This is a really pretty useful pencil sharpener if you're into charcoal pencils. It's an AFMAT one. I had the electric one, but it would gobble up the pencils and destroy them. And this manual one seems to be more gentle on them. So everything is super convenient for my newsprint charcoal pencil sketching. Similarly, I have my bigger ceramic watercolor palette here and a big water thing and all of that, and my brushes just above. Everything about this is for convenience. If I want to draw from the paint or paint from the computer, everything is just super easy to pull in and then start doing that whenever I want. Got a couple of lights on the sides. For me, drawing and painting is competing with like these massive tech companies trying to get my attention. Why don't you just sit and watch this? It's so easy, it's so convenient and stuff like that. So equally important to how simple and convenient I've made this, I've put more friction on these, you know, distractions. So on my phone, I have it set to black and white. And that has helped me a lot because the phone is just not nice to use. I've also installed this app called 1sec. So 1sec means that whenever I open an app that's a bit addictive, like YouTube, for example, it's just gonna make me wait for like 3 seconds. And sometimes I'm opening these apps and I don't even realize that I'm doing it. But when that 1sec thing makes me wait 3 seconds, it's like, what am I doing? Do I really wanna do this? And then I just usually close it. And this has halved my screen time on the phone. So making drawing and painting really enticing by having really nice setups for them, while making like the phone really clunky and not nice to use, has helped me to like halve my screen time and massively increase my drawing and painting time. If you have specific questions about materials and art supplies, put them in the comments below or share your kit and how you like to set things up in the comments below. I love talking about this stuff. This is not how you get good at drawing and painting. This is a different thing. This is like, you know, say you have like a cycling club or something, and there'll be that guy who shows up and is not very good at cycling, but has like the most amazing bike and all the lycra and all the gear. That's me. I've got all the gear. Drawing and painting skills, but I've got the gear. I love talking about this stuff. Leave your comments below about what stuff you like to use. And also any questions you have about art supplies and all that kind of stuff. I have a video specifically about my charcoal pencil setup with my newsprint. I'll put that below. Go and check it out. And thanks for hanging out with me and talking about art kit.